to ask the first question? Yes, please.
Hi, John Hepburn. I'm Secretary of Maritime Plymouth, and we sit on the Devon local group, where I think what we're doing is looking at the impact that the MCZs might have on the supply chain for the activities at sea. So that's what the effects that it has on the people here are going to affect the people that we're the sort of stakeholder representative for. So when you're looking at the information that you're getting from sea users, are you also asking them what will make them stop doing it, as well as what do they do and why do they do it? Because that, I think, is going to be quite important, because the management regime that you put in a particular MCZ is what is actually going to make a difference to the activities. And if it makes no difference to the activities, then the socio-economic impact is nil. But if it is going to make a difference, are you going to stop people doing it? Are you going to get people to do more of it? And is the data you're getting rich enough to be able to say, if we do this, so many people will stop doing that?
Yeah, well, there's an enormous amount of that question, John. Let's just take it step by step, and let's see if I give you satisfaction. First of all, the protection level needs to be proportionate to what you're trying to protect. So, and this is what we're working with is a matrix, which Finding Sanctuary is produced at the moment, an interim matrix, but it will be developed and formalised by the end of August. So we will see which of the habitats and which of the human activities, we call it compatibility, and there's a certain amount of common sense in that in terms of us trying to understand what habitats can exist in the context of which human activities. I think the basis being we need to be realistic, I think. I was going to use the word simplistic. We need to be realistic about the amount of data that can be brought into this process. Afterwards, the decision needs to be taken. And if we're overwhelmed and drowning in data and points of view, it paralyses our ability to make a decision. So what we need to do is be quite specific about the data sets we're going to be using to make decisions, and not be so data heavy that ultimately we can't make a decision. So actually what we found, although we have a 150-page set of data for the steering group, actually it comes down to certain key data sets. And obviously that differs for the person making a decision. So I think we need to be very careful about not overwhelming the decision-making process with data.
The people that have supplied data to be able to come up with these maps, something's missing. Another BCC who have basically 900 direct members, twice that number with affiliated clubs and associates, and maybe far more than that. A lot of usage from ports over the southwest that do a lot of deep sea fishing, do a lot of shore fishing. There's inadequacies in the information that we've got, and the biggest question is where is the information that I personally get? And ideally there's a few other things that don't get information, and that's not like this.
Actually find out why you can't see it on that map. The objective of today is to look at, and as you will do after the break, we're going to look at the data and really answer that very specific question for the whole region. Where is the data missing, and what can we do to make sure it's as good as possible? So we really wanted to have this event today to focus on the data sets, because we still have 5 months left. It's a short amount of time, but it's still enough time to make that data as good as possible. So we call it validation. It's an opportunity for those who have a really good knowledge to look at the data, tell us if something is wrong, we can amend it, tell us if something is missing, we can go out and collect it. And ultimately we want to continue this process of people looking at our data. We're not going to do it through meetings like this, but we are going to do it on the web. And I think through a collaborative teamwork between myself and my team and the steering group reps, we're going to work over the next 5 months to make it as comprehensive as we can.
And if I understood you right, you said there's not much activity in this area, so we'll put a zone here. What is the point of that? It sounds like political box ticking to me. If there's nothing going on there, what's the point of having a zone there?
Just one point of correction, the sites that I'm showing we're calling building blocks, so it's not, it shouldn't be misinterpreted as a potential MCZ, but that's not what you asked. The requirement that we have is to minimise adverse social and economic impacts. Now that is a whole complex issue, because for some people an MCZ is going to have a serious impact on their livelihood. That's important to reinforce. But the reality is, I can see your point. If the end result of all of this process, no human activity is restricted in any way, then it's basically business as usual. We've done nothing to improve the situation. I see your point. But the reality, I think, beyond that is that it won't be possible. It simply won't be possible for us to achieve the ecological network guidance and to put the MCZ in place without some kind of restrictions to existing human activity, because they are so widespread, from fishing and beyond, from all those other commercial activities which you'll have to look for their licensing blocks elsewhere. This is for conservation, but it comes down to that question I answered earlier, which is about being very prescriptive about the level of management, to focus on what you're trying to protect and ensure that what is being protected can coexist with that human activity which is going on there. So there will be protection measures, they will be in place, they will be enforced.
Peak diver, just like you, Paul, I've been diving for a long time, more than you, I think. And if you haven't got the copies of Hans and Noddy Haas, I've got them for you.
Oh, I've got the set. I bought it.
It took me 10 years to get them, but I've got them.
I finally bought all the sea hunt collected set.
Oh, this is better than sea. Okay, my views of this, you may be aware that over a decade or so now there's been quite a big campaign in Cornwall into Woodsand Bay area to continue disposal of dredge spoil. I can tell you that over the last 20 years, there's well over 7 million tonnes being discharged into an area of Woodsand Bay, some of which comes inshore and affects the habitat areas. It's quite big issues. You may be aware there's a website, woodsandbay.org, and I'll advertise that now. Because all of you on the table, there are comments on there at the moment with a huge petition, which is covering everything there, from tourism, from boating, from angling, from divers, from surfers. And if you look on the website, there is a petition of well over 400 signatures in a month. Some of these comments are well worth looking at. These are huge issues, and I've been on this for 10 years. My issues are, if you're aware of these campaigns, Let's Hope Finding Sanctuary can really get this on the map.
Crown Stakes are on the steering group. If the site you're talking about, if that was to be recommended as a marine conservation zone, then it has to be on the basis of that habitat that exists there, whatever it is or was amongst the silt. And then that we need to show that in order for that habitat to recover and to thrive, that the dredgeable dumping is deleterious to that particular habitat. I mean, it all sounds quite obvious, but there needs to be, in each of these cases, a very strong burden of proof. So I think that if you're aware of how all these sites are coming and through the particular people you need to work with,